Pretty well simple. We just got to finish Alien 1. The original, the best one. Don't at me. That's just the law of the land. And I know we kind of talked about it during Romulus, but even rewatching it right now with Birdie, just the little things you notice now since we've been through the franchise for so long. Straight up, even just still appreciating the quiet moments, the atmosphere, the intro being so not what I remembered. It has a whimsical tone. It has a fun, like almost like childlike, like this is a great time over here. You know, yes, they were waking from their pods, but the calm before the storm. You know, it's still everything still holds up. It's a bit corny, I know that, but it's old school horror. It's old school. You know, scary from your pants. You know, it's not jump scares after jump scares like how it is now. I think the only thing close that I would say is actually scary would be like the VHS movies, but even those kind of borderline on like the gore porn almost. But there are some goldies in there. But even just again, the acting, the pacing, even what's his name again, Brady? The cyborg? Not Rook.
Ash.
Ash. His entire demeanor changes for me because of what we know now. Looking back, everything's on purpose. From hiding the testing, hiding the visual camera, being a full X-ray, he's focusing on like the injection and his bloodstream. He's not showing the full X-ray, not taking the precaution, overriding Ridley. You just
There's a
look
lot
at him
of
and go, "You bastard!"
yeah, there's a lot of setup in place that you don't realize when you're first watching it, but once you learn how it plays out and then you start looking out for that type of stuff, you're like, wait a minute, why is he being like this or acting like his demeanor overall, the experience, his lack of empathy for someone who's clearly has a monster on their face and people that are slowly dying and he's not showing any remorse for that. Like you start to notice,
Oh
you pick up
yeah.
on those things way more than your first, because you're trying to figure things out when you're first watching it, but
Yep.
after it's your 1000th time, you're kind of
Birdie.
you're kind of watching every extra. Like, I don't really care much for foreshadowing or all these. I fell asleep in English class, so I'm not very well versed in story lead up, but I've watched this movie so much, I understand it because of this movie. So all those things they tried to teach me in school about writing a good story plot, I can see it visually when watching Alien because how many times I've seen it and how well it still pulls me in and wants to sit through the whole thing and not like skip parts or anything. I still enjoy the first movie. Have no issues with it.
One thing I gotta point out is you notice where things don't work. Like I pointed out two scenes that were deleted scene,
Oh yeah.
and I don't know if I remember that because I saw one. Obviously, the first time for me it was this version we saw, which was a cut version. But then we're watching this one, and I know I've seen the full version at least once with you, before. But noticing those conversations go from A to B, they're like, wait a minute, I swear there's something here. And that happened to me twice. And I wasn't even trying to be like a nerd about it. I was just like going through the motion of watching the film. I kind of thought that was a weird little thing for me. And I normally don't do that. You're like, how do they know that? Or how does this, you know? Instead of you being sucked into the horror, like how you tend to be with your first one or two.
Yeah. I don't remember what version I have. I bought the quadology,
I believe that
and
those have the cut and uncut.
I don't know what I bought digitally because the quadology is
Ah,
so old. Do
yeah.
you remember the green binding one?
Yeah,
That
that
one's
one
so
is
old
cool.
that that one doesn't come with digital codes. So I had to repurchase it again on, I think I bought it off of Microsoft. I repurchased the whole franchise again, and it's missing some of the bonus features. So I think
Yeah.
we don't have the version with the added, deleted
The
scenes.
uncut
Yeah,
or
we don't have that
director's cut,
version.
whatever you want
So
to call it.
I will agree because after the link I sent you about the where he gets taken by the xenomorph, it makes more sense. They actually do see him being lifted up, and they're running in there, and blood is pouring on them,
Yeah,
and they get the baton on the ground and stuff. So
with the
yeah, I agree
first
with that.
killing.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and even again, like I'm still sitting through it because we just finished it. It still gets me too. It still gets me. It does so
Definitely,
good in building everything and putting you in the moment.
yeah, definitely worth a watch if you're gonna be playing Isolation, especially since the second one got announced and
Yep.
the first one is just a banger. If it's your first time or you're revisiting it, I highly recommend you watch the first movie because Isolation happens years after the first movie and years before the second movie. So that continuation, there's a lot of attention to detail in the game and extra lore in that sense as well.
Yeah, because I think it told me they have a DLC for that. That's
But yeah, like I like it when games and movies continue the source material, and I can't wait to watch the second one because I like how he did his best, even though he was under stress because of Terminator and all that. He was doing his best to keep the source material to the first movie. Where as we go along, because we're gonna be doing all the movies, guys. So as
yep.
we go along, you'll see how some of the other directors kind of I want to do my own thing, and every director that's done that, they
I'm the
veer
cool
way off the
guy.
source material. 3 went way off the source material.
Yeah, I even have to admit, even when I first watched it, I was like, what am I like? What is going on?
Yeah, even the extended cut version of 3 just still doesn't fix continuity issues. It's
I
weird.
haven't seen that one, so that might be
It trades
interesting.
the dog for the ox, and then it shows us
There's an ox?
yeah, it shows us a queen facehugger, but it
Oh.
doesn't explain how it came to be. So we're made to still assume Queen got a random egg on board.
Okay.
How does that happen? You know, like
Yeah,
it's
that's more questions than answers. Oh no.
yeah, and they don't double down that the Queen can impregnate twice. The Queen facehugger.
Yeah.
You only learn that in games or comics. So it's like one of those things where if you're not well versed in the franchise, the movie falls apart as a movie in general. And as a trilogy, like as the third, it's kind of like the source material that you're given just doesn't add up with what you're presented if you just watch the 2 movies and then hop into the third.
So just everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing we can say that is the opposite with this movie because sometimes you miss old versions, old movies in general because of how they did their stories and characters. This is again, I think you might recall me kind of basically going off about Wild Robot. I had the same feeling even watching this one again. I don't hate nobody. I like all the characters. I like them all in their own respects. They're all fun or assholey or right.
Whenever he says anything, you say, right, Brett. You know that?
Right.
They're good characters. They're great characters. And everybody also isn't afraid. Like, I can't believe I have to say this even now because, current day and time, the guys felt like guys. The girls felt like girls. I mean, I know we're getting slowly political. Sorry, not sorry, but everybody felt like they were doing their role, and even the guys know I'll do it.
Yeah, it
I
was
gotta go.
It was obviously played out like a IRL scenario of like this is how construction people sound like, this is how miners sound like, and that's what they are. They're a bunch of blue collar workers just doing
another paid job.
They're doing an ass end job in the ass end of space, and unfortunately the company rerouted them because they're expendable, which, let's be honest, most laborers are not really cared for in the industry. Respect to them because they do hard work, but the people who sit in the offices chilling don't respect them, and that kind of sucks even in this day and age.
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms on that one. But I miss that. I really do. And that's why I gravitate so much towards animation because they keep it that way. And a lot of it's so simple. Keep characters the way they are or the way you want them to be. And most of us will love them.
The alien's definitely biomechanical, but the crew is definitely organic. Like you can feel it. You can feel how real they are.
I still love and even just watching it. I know I had a moment with that with the Romulus talk, but it's just everybody's flow. Even in that one scene, which it gets better every time you watch it, when his chest burster comes out, Nobody knew that except for Ash and obviously the actor. But to see everybody just freak the hell out and have the panic in their eyes, come on. They're like, what the fresh hell is this? And because nobody told them.
Yep.
It's just great. And you don't get those moments a lot of times, if any, these days that I know of, except for maybe like oh, this movie was done in one go, or this movie had like 5 redos, you know, they're like some arbitrary number that they want to put in, but like you don't get a reaction like this every day. And to just see the genuine fear in people's eyes, you're like, oh, I'm pretty sure even the audience, when they first see that, they have the exact same look on their face. So it's just that organic that comes through it, and adding that with the layer of the people working together. They have charm, they have charisma, they're fun. The script is super tight knit. The movie keeps on flowing. You don't get bored. It's still nice. The music, the atmosphere, Ash trying to undermine everybody. Like, everything still fit. It's a freaking great movie. A great, scary, old school movie.
Yeah, I agree.